You know, when I was a teenager, I would hop onto my mom's phone and browse online shopping apps for hours. It used to give a different kind of dopamine hit at a time when I barely even knew the meaning of the word dopamine, right? And as with so many of us who grew up with the 90s fashion that was still hitting the mark in early 2000s, it was literally my entry point to the world of fashion. Those skinny Jamie jeans and floral jumpsuits, they were a thing, okay, back then, and I was completely into it. But all that also reminded me of my awful consumption habits, and that's literally what we are digging in today's POV with Pallavi. Episode 13 is all about the dark side of fast fashion. Well, every day, millions of people scroll through social media, right? Double tapping on the latest fashion trends. But behind those perfectly curated posts by all these glamorous influencers, let me tell you, lies a darker reality which is called the world of fast fashion. A lot of ignorant shoppers do not really understand the environmental cost at which the speed and styling of fast fashion really knocks our door. Well, influencers play quite a toxic role in here, and for all us awakened shoppers and consumers, I think it's time to look beyond the hashtags and filters. Well, let me put in some facts in place to make sense of this episode more. Well, there's a full-blown article on Vogue Business released last week, I think, where the iconic British brand Topshop, yes, the same brand that millennials completely fell in love with, it's back in action. And I think it's quite a showcase of the fact that we haven't really learned from our mistakes. And second is one of our most go-to fast fashion retailers. I'm sure Shein is something that we all shop from. It recently reported to have emissions jump by 13.7% by its clothing manufacturing, and that's a bit concerning out there. Third is there's an old BBC documentary that's clocking into me right now. It's called Blood, Sweat and T-shirts. And they have shown some really horrifying conditions of garment workers in sweatshops across India. So at this point, if you're walking around in your shimmery polyester top, let me tell you, it's really equivalent to smoking a cigarette for the environment. Well, every year, the industry generates over 92 million tons of textile waste. And shockingly, less than 1% of these garments are recycled into new clothing. Well, thankfully, I've gotten into this easy business of thrifting, where I just get rid of my old clothes and I give them to these thrifting stores who then recycle it and sell it to their customers.
Well, honestly speaking, I haven't really paid attention at the kind of material that I've been buying. Fast fashion is everywhere, and I don't really think that people really put attention into details like this. But that's the biggest disaster because it causes a really bad effect to the environment. And well, now after this conversation, I honestly feel that I'm going to be paying attention at what I'm wearing, what materials I'm going to be using, and be a little cautious.
I am aware about how these different fabrics affect the environment. Like my mom recently told me that polyester takes a lot of time to decompose, and also that water is used a lot while making cotton products, which is why I have resolved to this option of thrift shopping. A lot of my friends are thrift shoppers, and they keep posting about it, and sometimes I also believe that it depends upon the durability and also the cost of the product. So yeah, I think that I've become a more conscious shopper, and even though if I love fashion, I'll still kind of try to consider the environment in some aspects.
And one fun fact, these synthetic fibers like polyester, commonly used in fast fashion, they take hundreds and hundreds of years to decompose. So you see, our choices can really make or break the world we live in. And in my opinion, ignorant shoppers are literally the biggest contributors to this disastrous fashion chain. And all these influencers you keep following for your next fashion trend, let me just tell you, they are just fueling the environmental toxicity. Well, these promotions for sure create a sense of urgency, right? Buy now, wear once, and discard. Limited offers only till midnight, etc. And I think this mentality for sure leads to rampant consumption and consequently to more waste. And I agree, fast fashion gives us instant gratification for sure, but its long-term environmental costs are undeniable. And I think it's time for us to hold the brands accountable for a change. And remember, fashion should empower us and not really harm our planet. And with that, that was my time on today's POV with Pallavi. If you liked what I just spoke to you about, you can give us a thumbs up, do all the basics, hit the bell icon, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and let us know how you thought about this episode in the comments below. I'll see you in the next episode.
One world, your station.